Are you sick and tired of dealing with tight hamstrings? Chad Van Hurt, personal trainer for Roadrunner Sports, and today we're going to get down to the bottom of this pesky problem because I know it's affecting a lot of you. So we're going to get to it right away. Alright, so we're going to explore 3 red flags that are really going to be indicators as to why you might be suffering from this hamstring pain. And I can tell you right now, it's not usually the hamstring that's the culprit. The real problem comes from weak, underdeveloped glutes. And when the glutes are underdeveloped and weak, the hamstring has to do way more work than it's used to, and you better bet it's going to get tight. When something's overworked, it's going to try to hold tension in order to provide strength and produce the strength that it's lacking. Okay, so the first indicator that we're looking for is going to be a simple exercise from the quadruped position. We're going down hands and knees, and all you're going to do is keep your pelvis square, keep it neutral, brace your abs, and you're going to just extend one leg back behind you straight. Okay, from there, all you want to do is lift the leg up and drop it down, and you want to make sure this hip's not rolling open. We want to keep those hips nice and square. And all you're going to do is extend the hip back and try to see if you can feel a real tight squeeze through the glute. You want to feel it right in this left cheek right here, okay? So the important part is that you feel that mind-muscle connection with that glute from this simple position. If you can't feel the tension in the glute from that simple, basic, stable position, you better bet that you're not going to be able to feel that glute working or get that glute to work when you're out doing something more dynamic or something that requires more power, like running. All right, the second red flag to show that you've got weak glutes is almost the same exercise. The only difference is that now once the leg's extended back behind you, you're going to bend your knee. Now that gets the hamstring shortened, which essentially takes the hamstring out of the movement. Now it can't contribute to hip extension like it could from the straight leg position. Now from there, you're just going to lift that heel right up to the ceiling and see if you can feel that same squeeze in that left glute and in that left cheek that you did with the straight leg position. If you can't and you're missing that mind-muscle connection, then that's telling you that that hamstring was doing way too much of the work into hip extension. We've got to get the glutes stronger. Okay, the third and final red flag to really test to see how strong your glutes are is a back lying glute bridge. So go ahead and find a nice solid place on the floor. Lie down, knees bent, shimmy your shoulder blades back, and from here we're going to try to keep the feet about hip width and then lift the feet up into the air. This is a basic glute bridge, and from here you're really trying to feel some tension in on your glutes. You might feel your hamstrings contracting as well, that's okay. Okay, but the real test is going to come when you lift the leg. Okay, we're going to test the strength of the right glute here and its ability to keep you up. Okay, if you're able to do that and hold that on the right side, great. Try the left and see if you're able to stabilize and hold on that side. The next test is to go back to the other side. Now that we know we can stabilize it in an isometric position and hold, now we want to try to actively move through hip extension. Again, you're trying to sense the tension come into your glute. Now if you start to feel the hamstring cramping and getting overly tight, then you know the hamstring's trying to do too much of the work for you and the glute's not doing enough. So again, if you feel any cramping or you really struggle to extend the hip from this position, we know we've got some issues there. Okay, you guys, if you found that any of those exercises showed up weak for you and you weren't getting that glute to engage the way you should, then again, it means your hamstring is doing far too much work. Okay, both the hamstring muscle group and the glute muscle group have the responsibility of extending the hip behind you. This is the biggest muscle group in the body. By cross-sectional area, that glute is going to be able to produce force and power more so than any other muscle group in the body. So again, you can bet that if the glute's sleepy or not firing, and both the glute and hamstring do the same job, and that this guy's not showing up, you can bet that hamstring's going to be overworked and it's going to get tight. Okay, you might even have hamstring strains that become a problem. Now what you don't want to do, and what I see all the time, is people trying to stretch their tight hamstrings, right? They're here bouncing into a stretch, maybe they're doing foam rolling, maybe they're doing massage, and they may find temporary relief when they're doing those things. I'm not saying that that can't happen. You may find that you get temporary relief. Go ahead and do those things, but don't expect it to solve the underlying problem. Because although you may get temporary relief, as soon as you go back to the activity that caused the problem in the first place, if you haven't fixed the weak glutes, the hamstrings are going to get overloaded once again, and you're going to be running this loop of injury and recovery, where every time you go to take a stride on your run, those hamstrings get overworked, you break the chain, and they seize up and get tight to try to provide tension and stability and strength because the glutes aren't providing it. So again, make sure you determine whether or not you have weak glutes, because in the next video, we're gonna go forward into some strength training exercises that are really gonna help you solve the problem with those weak glutes. And we're gonna get into some progressions that are gonna help you solve the problem once and for all. Okay, you guys, I hope you liked the video. Again, we're trying to provide information that's gonna help you going forward in the future to avoid these injuries. Now make sure you do those simple exercise tests to see if you have the weakness, because like I said, in the next video, we're really gonna go forward into some progressions and some more aggressive exercises to get those glutes strengthened up. As always, if you have any questions or comments or topics you'd love for us to cover, go ahead and leave a comment below, hit the like button, and make sure you stay tuned for the next videos. See you on the other side, and see you back out on the road.